The internet broke. No, seriously, it absolutely broke. Millions of fans, analysts, coaches, and players flooded every platform, every comment section, every sports bar television screen with a rage and a passion that reminded the world of one thing. When it comes to the NFL, nothing stays quiet for long. We are talking shouting matches on Twitter, leaked insider claims, a head coach caught in a scandal that rocked a franchise to its core, rule changes that could define a season before a single whistle is blown, and a championship finish so decisive that it rewrote what we thought we knew about the most watched sporting event on planet Earth. And now? Now the teams are gearing up again. The 2026 NFL season is around the corner, and it is already loaded with controversy, drama, and high-stakes matchups that have fans tearing their hair out with anticipation. This is not just football. This is war. And if you are the kind of person who lives for stories like this, the behind-the-scenes chaos, the locker room whispers, the moments that define legacies, then hit that subscribe button right now and the bell notification, because we cover stories like this every single week, and you absolutely cannot afford to miss what is coming.
Now, let's go back to where it all started to truly understand the magnitude of what is happening in the NFL right now. Because this story doesn't begin with the draft or the schedule release or even the Super Bowl. It begins with a season that defied every single expectation and a championship moment that nobody fully predicted, which set the stage for everything that is unfolding right now as every NFL franchise gears up for what could be the most explosive, controversial, and emotionally charged season in recent memory. Cast your mind back to February 8th, 2026. For the second time in franchise history, the Seattle Seahawks became Super Bowl champions. Led by their defense and Super Bowl MVP running back Kenneth Walker III, the Seahawks stymied the New England Patriots 29-13 in Super Bowl 60. But the scoreline alone does not begin to tell you the story of what happened inside Levi's Stadium that night. Because this was not just a game. This was a statement. This was a reckoning. Nicknamed the Dark Side, the Seahawks defense wreaked havoc on regular season MVP runner-up quarterback Drake Maye, sacking him 6 times and forcing him to turn the ball over 3 times. 6 sacks, 3 turnovers, against a Patriots team that had navigated an entire postseason of grit, resilience, and belief. Against a franchise that many thought was destined to restore New England to glory on the back of their electrifying young quarterback. It didn't happen. It was a controlled demolition, and the football world went completely sideways. Think about what made this moment so electric and so controversial all at once. Super Bowl 60 marked a rematch of Super Bowl 49, where the Patriots had previously defeated the Seahawks. This time, Seattle flipped the script in dramatic fashion. For Seahawks fans, this was 11 years of emotional debt being repaid in full, in prime time, on the biggest stage in all of American sports. For Patriot supporters, it was a nightmare. Drake Maye is the first player to be sacked 5+ times in 4 straight playoff games. A statistical reality so brutal, so damning, that it immediately opened a floodgate of questions about whether the Patriots' offensive line was built to protect their franchise quarterback and whether the organization's rebuilt roster was truly ready to compete at the highest level. Backyard drunkard in FL. Kenneth Walker III generated 135 rushing yards on a season-high 27 carries, with a 5.0 yards per carry average. He blasted off on runs of 30 and 29 yards in the second quarter. And while the offense was efficient enough, it was the Seahawks defense, the so-called dark side, that truly wrote history that night. Derek Hall, Byron Murphy II, Devin Witherspoon, and rookie Riley Mills all contributed sacks as McDonald's defense demolished Maye. Head coach Mike Macdonald became the talk of the league overnight. Here was a young defensive mastermind, relatively new to the top job, dismantling one of the most storied franchises in NFL history with a ruthless, suffocating system. Analysts compared the Seahawks defense to the legendary Legion of Boom era.
Social media erupted. The NFL's official account tweeted, "The Seattle Seahawks are Super Bowl 60 champions." Players from around the league flooded their timelines with celebration. Russell Wilson was among those publicly celebrating. The reactions were enormous. But so was the backlash toward New England. The New England defense played well enough to give them a chance. They played championship defense. They deserved better, but they'll go home empty-handed. That observation, coming from an enemy perspective analysis, captured the tragedy of the Patriots' night, a defensive unit that gave everything, undermined by an offense that simply could not function under Seattle's relentless pressure. NFL Yahoo Sports. Patriots fans expressed frustration with Drake Maye's heavy sack total and offensive struggles, and that frustration only grew in the weeks that followed. Because in the NFL, you do not simply lose a Super Bowl and quietly go away. Every team that falls short carries that loss into the offseason, into the draft room, into free agency negotiations, into the very first snap of the new season. And this is where the 2026 story gets extraordinarily complex, layered, and genuinely shocking. Let's talk about what happened next. Because just when the dust of the Super Bowl was beginning to settle, the 2026 NFL Draft arrived, in Pittsburgh of all places, and it delivered controversy right from the opening ceremony. The 2026 NFL Draft brought major drama, including Mike Vrabel's personal scandal, controversial picks, and heated fan reactions across social media feeds. Now, if you're a Patriots fan, the name Mike Vrabel should fill you with hope. He was brought in as head coach to rebuild the franchise, to bring that winning culture back, to mentor Drake Maye into the quarterback the organization desperately needed him to become. But on day 3 of the draft, something extraordinary happened. Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel left his team on day 3 of the draft, turning his attention to his family after several scandalous photos of him and NFL reporter Diana Rossini leaked in recent weeks. Vrabel and the Patriots announced he would be stepping away from the team early on Thursday morning. And just hours later, a photo showing Vrabel and Rossini kissing was published by the New York Post. Stop and let that sink in. The head coach of the New England Patriots, one of the most scrutinized, most storied franchises in professional sports, walked away from his team in the middle of the NFL draft because of a personal scandal involving an NFL reporter. Vrabel then held a news conference prior to the start of the first round amid speculation about his future with the team, saying, "My previous actions don't meet the standard that I hold myself to." That statement sent shockwaves through the league. Every analyst, every commentator, every locker room across the NFL was talking about it. What does this mean for New England's stability? What does it mean for Drake Maye, a young quarterback who needs strong coaching to reach his potential? What does it mean for a franchise that had already endured the turbulence of the post-Brady era? These questions hang over the Patriots heading into 2026 like a storm cloud that refuses to move. And the draft itself was full of its own landmines. The Giants shocked many when they selected Ohio State linebacker Arvell Reese with a number 5 overall pick. Some fans and pundits believed the Giants wouldn't add another linebacker with such a high pick, with several high investments at the position already on roster. Fans were even more frustrated when they used the 10th overall pick on offensive lineman Francis Mauigoa, passing on hyped safety prospect Caleb Downs. Downs then went 11th to the rival Dallas Cowboys. The reactions online were immediate and merciless. Giants supporters who had been waiting and waiting for their franchise to make a decisive, smart move felt betrayed. And watching Caleb Downs, the player many believed they needed, fall directly into the hands of the Dallas Cowboys at number 11, that was a wound that will not heal quickly. Meanwhile, the Los Angeles Rams threw the football world into a heated debate of its own. When the Los Angeles Rams drafted quarterback Ty Simpson in the first round, head coach Sean McVay didn't look thrilled, and he admitted as much Friday. McVay, one of the sharpest defensive minds in the modern game, opened his press conference by acknowledging his visible discomfort on draft night. He said, "I get my demeanor last night, but we're excited about it. Every decision that we make is collective and collaborative." Now, whether or not you believe that statement, and a lot of people in the NFL community are not sure they do, the image of a head coach looking visibly uncomfortable as his team makes a first-round pick is the kind of story that dominates sports media for weeks. On one side, critics argued the pick doesn't help the 2026 squad in what should be an all-in push towards a Super Bowl in what could be Matthew Stafford's final season. The other camp argued it's a forward-thinking move to start preparing for the post-Stafford era. So now you have a team with a divided fan base, a seemingly reluctant head coach, and a franchise quarterback who may be playing the final chapter of his NFL career, all walking into a 2026 season where expectations are enormous. Can the Rams contend? Can Stafford lead them to one final push? These are the questions that are going to define one of the most compelling storylines of the upcoming season.
But the drama was not limited to the front offices and the draft room. It crept into the rules themselves. NFL owners approved 5 rule changes for the 2026 season during the annual league meeting. 2 of the changes make a direct impact on officiating as the NFL braces for the possibility of replacement referees at the start of the season. This is enormous. The NFL's collective bargaining agreement with the Referees Association is on the brink of collapse. The collective bargaining contract of the NFL Referees Association is set to expire on May 31st, 2026. The NFL presented the NFLRA an offer worth 6 years with a salary increment of 6.45% annually, while the NFLRA demands a rise greater than 10%, as well as marketing revenue sharing worth $2.5 million annually. The gap between those two positions is significant, and if it is not bridged before the season begins, the NFL could face something it has not dealt with since 2012, replacement referees on the field for regular season games. The owners approved the proposal to, for 2026 only, allow the NFL officiating department to correct clear and obvious misses by on-field officials that impact the game in the event of a work stoppage involving officials. This is the league's way of trying to prevent a repeat of the infamous Packers Seahawks Monday night debacle from 2012, where a replacement referee's call directly decided the outcome of the game. But think about what this rule actually means. The league is openly preparing for the possibility that the people calling games on the field this fall may not be the qualified, experienced officials fans expect. That is an extraordinary admission, and it is adding another layer of uncertainty and tension to an already pressure-filled environment as teams gear up for the new season. And speaking of controversy about what is happening before a single game of the 2026 season has been played, the schedule itself is already a battleground. The San Francisco 49ers and Los Angeles Rams will begin their seasons at the iconic Melbourne Cricket Ground in Australia on Thursday, September 10th, at approximately 8:35 p.m. Eastern Time, the first NFL game ever played down under. Historically significant, yes, but also deeply, genuinely controversial. The NFL's global expansion is a bold move that opens up new markets and revenue streams, but it also risks diluting the competitive spirit of the game. Head coach Kyle Shanahan expressed concerns about the 19-time zone difference between the U.S. and Australia, which he believes poses significant challenges for player health and performance. There are also allegations that the Rams lobbied for a favorable matchup, raising ethical questions about the influence of teams on scheduling decisions.
Let that allegation sink in for a moment. If it is true, if a team was able to influence who they would play and under what circumstances in an international game, that cuts right to the heart of competitive integrity. Roger Goodell responded by saying coaches should focus on winning and that the league is committed to a positive experience for teams in Australia. But Shanahan's concerns were not dismissed by the football community. Players and coaches across the league understand what it means to travel across the world, to have your body clock completely shattered, and then be expected to perform at the highest level in a game that matters. The 2026 NFL season will feature 9 total international games across 4 continents, including games in the UK, Germany, Mexico, Spain, Brazil, Australia, and France. The NFL has never been more global. But the price of that global ambition is a growing tension between business expansion and competitive fairness, and that tension is very much alive as teams prepare for September.
Meanwhile, the storyline of the Seattle Seahawks, the reigning Super Bowl champions, is itself becoming a saga worth watching. After their Super Bowl 60 victory, Mike Macdonald and the champion Seahawks went from hunters to hunted. We're target number 1 now. Every team circled their game against Seattle on the calendar the moment the confetti fell at Levi's Stadium.
The Seahawks know it. Their coaching staff knows it. Their players know it. And that pressure,
The pressure of defending a championship in a league that is designed to cut the feet out from under champions through the draft and salary cap is relentless and unforgiving. The Seahawks finalized their 2026 NFL draft class, selecting Notre Dame running back Jadarian Price with the 32nd overall pick in the first round. The defending champions were busy rebuilding depth even as the rest of the league was scheming ways to dethrone them. Then there is the Aaron Rodgers situation, which has been simmering all offseason long and could explode at any moment. Reports are swirling about whether Pittsburgh truly commits to him as their starter or whether the franchise quietly pivots in a new direction. A report indicated that some people within the Steelers may be starting to lose patience regarding whether or not Rodgers will be the club's starting quarterback for the 2026 season. This is Aaron Rodgers we were talking about, a four-time MVP, a Super Bowl champion, one of the most polarizing figures in NFL history. If Pittsburgh moves away from him, it triggers a cascade of questions. Where does Rodgers go? Does he retire? Does he force his way onto a contender? And what does Pittsburgh's QB room look like without him anchoring it? And let's not forget the moment that happened right before the 2025-26 season even got fully started. A moment that set the tone for just how ferocious and uncontrolled the energy inside these NFL matchups can be. Eagles defensive lineman Jalen Carter found himself in hot water when he was caught spitting at Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott, sparking a wave of reactions across the NFL. The incident resulted in an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty for Carter and an ejection from the game. He later admitted his mistake, and the league reviewed it, but the image of that confrontation, of the raw, barely contained violence that lives just beneath the surface of every NFL game, went absolutely viral. It reminded everyone that these are not just athletes playing a sport for entertainment. These are intensely competitive, emotionally charged human beings locked in battles that feel deeply personal, especially in divisional rivalries where history and pride are always on the line.
When the NFL announced that Bad Bunny would headline the 2026 Super Bowl halftime show, reactions were mixed, to say the least. The Puerto Rican artist sparked a debate about representation and inclusivity, with some praising the move as a refreshing change and others criticizing it as straying from traditional halftime show expectations. Donald Trump chimed in with his own critique, stating he didn't know who Bad Bunny was. Even the halftime show became a culture war flashpoint, and ultimately, Bad Bunny delivered one of the most memorable, talked-about Super Bowl performances in recent memory, hosting a real on-stage wedding while Lady Gaga and Ricky Martin joined him. Super Bowl 60 attracted an estimated 220 million global viewers, once again cementing the Super Bowl as one of the world's biggest sporting spectacles. Yet debates erupted online comparing those viewership numbers to other global events, with the NFL's claim to being the world's most-watched sporting event once again being challenged.
So here is where we are right now, standing on the edge of what promises to be a truly extraordinary 2026 NFL season. You have a defending champion in Seattle with a massive target on their backs, preparing to open their season at home in what may be one of the most anticipated opener matchups in years. You have a Patriots franchise dealing with a coaching scandal, a quarterback who must shake off a Super Bowl nightmare, and an offseason full of question marks. You have the Rams walking a tightrope between championship contention and future planning, with a head coach whose body language spoke louder than his press conference words. You have the Giants making picks that their own fans openly despised. You have the Cowboys landing a cornerstone player in Caleb Downs and adding George Pickens via franchise tag, hungry to re-enter the conversation after years of postseason heartbreak. You have the Steelers entangled in an Aaron Rodgers drama that is not yet resolved. You have replacement referees potentially looming over the season like a ghost. You have international games stoking debates about competitive fairness and player welfare. And you have 9 games on foreign soil, introducing the NFL's most intense rivalries to brand new audiences across 4 continents. The 2026 NFL season officially kicks off with a Hall of Fame game on August 6th, featuring the Carolina Panthers and Arizona Cardinals, before the regular season begins on Wednesday, September 9th. From that first snap in Canton, Ohio, to the final whistle of Super Bowl 61, every game, every hit, every decision made in a front office somewhere is going to be dissected, debated, praised, and criticized with a ferocity that only the NFL is capable of generating. The fans are ready. The players are ready. The coaches, controversial decisions and all, are ready. And the reactions? They have already exploded, and the season has not even started yet. Sports brackets. This is the NFL. This is the chaos, the beauty, the raw emotion, and the high-stakes drama that keeps hundreds of millions of people locked in every single week. And we are right here, covering every twist, every turn, every bombshell that comes out of the league that never, not for one single day, stops being the most compelling sports story on the planet.
Disclaimer. This video is based on publicly available reports, news articles, statements from players and officials, and ongoing developments in the NFL as of May 2026. Some situations mentioned are still evolving, and circumstances may have changed. This content is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. All opinions expressed are those of the narrator and do not represent the views of any NFL team, player, or official.